Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. I am doing today's call Mastermind style, so we've got a lot of leaders from the Mortgage Coach community on today's call. I have Bliss Sawyer. What's up, Bliss? It's good to have you live. I'll let you know if we can hear you.
Just can you hear me okay?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay.
And then I do remind everybody, you might want to put it on mute if you're not talking, just because we got a lot of folks on today's call. But Bliss is a regular on our Friday Mastermind call. So I think you're always there and often jump in as a leadership role. So thanks, Bliss. We have Jenny Stoner joining us live. Where are you coming live to us at from, Jenny?
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right on. Well, hey, I love your Seller Buydown storytelling video on Facebook. Great job.
Thanks. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, no, you always do such a great job on that. We also have Linda Buchanan coming live out of Southern California. What's up, Linda?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. And then I am super pumped. I have Dawn Shishabaran on today's call. She is the Vice President of Innovation at Mortgage Coach, and she runs our marketing product and is really here because we want to learn fast and help the Mortgage Coach community have a competitive advantage when it comes to making the most of pretty much any strategy. Welcome, Dawn.
Great to be here. Looking forward to today's call.
Yeah, so Dawn, feel free to ask questions throughout the call. Make sure you know what we're trying to do, both from a product perspective, how we want to market this and educate our community. So let's make sure that we're learning what we need to learn so that we can lead well.
All right.
Okay, good. So guys, I'm also going to have Dan Keller jump in at some point in today's call. He's going to be in and out within 5 to 10 minutes between Realtor meetings. And we're also going to have Rick Shear jump in and out because he's done a pretty cool Facebook Live video and he's going to talk about that. Is there anyone that needs to leave early, just so I can make sure we bring you in the first 30 minutes? Bliss, Linda,
Good.
Jenny, you're all good? Okay. Well, let's go first with you, Jenny, just because you did that. You heard the conversation in the community about the seller buy down, and then I think you were the first one that posted a really good. You told a story, you posted something on Facebook. So I would love for you to, why did you do that? So we kind of get around like what were you thinking and why you did it, and then share what you did and what kind of results you're seeing for it so far.
Yeah, so I love to communicate via video because one, it's just fun for me, and then two, I feel like my audience can hear my heart when I'm speaking in video. It just doesn't come across the same in an email. And once I got over my fear of the camera, like I default to video every time because I feel like it's really effective. And my post really came from watching. So at night when I'm sitting on the couch is when I watch all the Mortgage Coach videos. And Dave, thank you for putting together this community because there's such value in just hearing other people in our industry outside of the Charlotte area. For me, just hearing what they're doing. And one of the things I heard on that call I was listening to last week was that that people taking the initiative to do something, that's what makes a difference. And so I listened to it that night, and the next morning I made a video because why wait, right? I mean, I know the content's great. I know it's going to come across well to my audience. And sometimes we just get in our own way, and I just make a commitment not to get in my own way. So when I have an idea, I do it and I implement it. And so, yeah, that's what happened with that one. I listened to it at like 9:30 one night, and the next morning I went outside and made a video. I've had a great response from it, both from people on Facebook and social media, and then from my agents. I always try to end my videos with letting my audience know that I work with some of the best agents in the area. And if they need a referral to one of those, I would love to connect them with someone I trust. And that always gets those agents' attention. And so they like what I found is they want to be friends with Jenny because they think Jenny's going to connect them with buyers, which I do. So yeah, I've gotten a great response from it. And I've learned if you tell a story to communicate a message, that resonates with people. That's something I learned in my coaching. And I just try to do one story every week just to make my point. And it seems to be well received.
Love it. Love it. So guys, first of all, anybody watching this, you're like, what video is Jenny talking about? In the Mortgage Coach Facebook group, Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind, I posted an example of that. Also, if you go to our playbook in LinkedIn, the Seller Buydown playbook, towards the bottom of it, well, first of all, I just introduced this, so I want to go through it real quick. There's 6 principles for this Seller Buydown. There's, I think, 4 strategies currently, although I already know there's going to be 5 or 6 get added within the next week just because we're learning fast around that. I put in a bunch of talking points and key concepts. And then down towards the bottom, I know it's long, there's a checklist. Then there's what we call Mortgage Coach training and marketing resources. And within those marketing resources, there's a link to Jenny's book. So I just want you to know this is a growing, breathing body of knowledge for the community. But if you just want to go right to Jenny's book, it's currently in announcements. So it's at the top and it's right here. And I recommend everybody check it out. So what I like to do now, in the purest form of masterminding, kind of throw it to Bliss to see if you had any questions for Jenny. And then I'll go to you, Linda.
Yeah, Jenny, that was awesome. You inspired me. So
Thank you.
those of us that have been listening, right, sometimes it's hard to actually go in and take the strategy and do something with it. So yesterday, I did a video about it because you inspired me. Sent that out to real estate agents, but I still feel that it's kind of a little bit complicated or not easy things for realtors to get their heads wrapped around. So I've got 2 brokers that I know fairly well. One of them actually has an in-house lender. And so I thought, well, you know what, it doesn't hurt to ask. So I called her up and I said, hey, I sent her the video with a little note. I want to talk to you about this. And by the way, I did my video in Mortgage Coach, and then I sent it out through BombBomb. So if anybody wants to know how I did that. But I said, I would love to explain this just a little bit deeper to your agents and answer any questions that they might have. And she said, well, we have an in-house lender. And I said, absolutely. I don't want to step on any toes because I respect that relationship. I said, but I have a conference room. Is there any way we could just invite them over here to my office? And she said, I would love for you to do that. So we've got that scheduled for next Thursday. I'm going to take some time to talk about the Seller Buydown. I put a question on the Mortgage Coach Facebook page yesterday saying, hey, I want some more bullet points because I don't think that's going to take very long, right? And so one great idea was someone came back and said, I encourage realtors to offer as a listing incentive 3%, and I give them 3 ways to use it. So I think I'm going to take his idea and do a presentation around that where, of course, one of the ways is to buy down the interest rate permanently. Then you have towards closing costs. Actually, you could do 4 ways. You could do a permanent buy down, you could do a temporary buy down, you could do towards closing costs, and you could reduce the sales price. And so, but it's just a little marketing idea for them to put into their listing, and especially in some of these higher price points that have slowed down, to maybe help their sellers, rather than reducing the price, feel like they're getting some better advice and more innovative, creative ways to help them sell their house. So I'm actually super excited, and I'd love to hear anybody else's idea on what I could present. And then the other, yeah.
Real quick, before you jump further, I want to make sure we bring Scott Nicholson in. He is actually only going to be able to be in for a minute. Actually, he may have already had to leave.
Oh,
Scott,
no.
are you here? We lost him. He was on his way to a Realtor meeting, and I just noticed that he popped in. Scott, if you can hear us and you jump back in, let me know, because we do want to hear about the Realtor meeting you're going to. So go ahead, Bliss.
Oh, so yeah, I was inspired by all the talk about Seller Buydown, Jenny's video, and then take it one step further and try to actually get in front of realtors. The other broker I'm approaching, she and I are going to be talking today about doing that. And here's the thing, I don't really know what I'm talking about, right? That's why I think a lot of people hesitate to do this. And so I have a jam session scheduled for me to go, yeah, I did the mortgage coach, seller buy down. That helped me understand it a little bit further. But how am I going to get up in front of people and get them excited about it? So I need to spend some time, but I didn't wait for that, right? I just scheduled it because that's going to make me spend time understanding what I want to share with them, how I'm going to present it. I'm also, you know, have some other ideas of things I'm going to share with them. And again, this is a real estate group that already has an in-house lender. So I'm kind of excited about it.
Mhm.
So Jenny, any
Way
thoughts on?
better looking than I am.
Yeah.
So,
well, kudos to you for.
Oh, go ahead.
Kudos to you for not letting, I think our human nature is we talk ourselves out of our ideas,
All
right?
the
So
time.
you have to act on them when you think, at least for me, I need to act on them as soon as I think about them, or I'll think of a reason to not do it. So that was, I mean, I think that's the first step. For my realtors personally, I had presented this to them 2 other times in the last month and a half. But my agents needed to be personalized to them to make a connection. So I sent it out via BombBomb as an example, just a generic example, twice, 2 different ways to them, but still did not get the traction that I really felt like it deserved. And so what we're doing now, I have a part-time marketing assistant and communications director, and she is going in and making a seller buy down for my agents' listings. So what I did this morning as I was getting ready is text all of my agents and say, hey, I have this awesome idea. I want to make sure you understand it. It is going to help you sell more homes. And I want, just send me an MLS listing of a current listing that you have. And I want to use that as an example with a video. And like, they love my videos. So when I throw that little video thing in the end, they're like, oh, she's going to talk about me. So I got the MLS number, and I'm having my marketing girl right now, she's working on 6 of them to do it for an agent's actual listing. And then I'm going to go in and do a video within Mortgage Coach before I send it to them, explaining the concept specifically for their listing. And the subject line of the email, I did one yesterday and sent it, is a new idea you may not have thought of to help sell 6227 Shining Brook. And so, in the video, I kind of explain it to them, and then I say, look, I can't really educate you to impress your seller unless we get on the phone. So let me know what time works for you today. We'll hop on the phone. I'll give you some more details to make sure you're equipped with all the information you need. And I only sent one yesterday, but he's already called, so it's working so far.
So when he called, what did that conversation sound like? What information did you give him?
So I had to tell him the same thing that I told him in the video, right? He's like, okay, so tell me this again, like explain this to me. And so I just walk him through, you know, our tendency is to lower the price. But right now in this market, it may not be the best way. And it's a 3-to-1 ratio, right? Every time I've done it, it's been a 3-to-1 ratio. It's better. It's 3 times better to use the 3% to buy down the rate than to reduce the price.
So guys, I want to connect a few dots. Linda, we're going to bring you in a minute. We just got Rick's share, so I want to make sure we get that. So a couple things we need to nail before this call is over, which is clear to me, which is we need to give everybody just 1, 2, 3, how you can get confident and clear on what is the seller funded buy down that we're talking about, and how can you efficiently learn that. So everybody, I want you to be thinking as we close out this call. I'm going to rift out my 1, 2, 3, and I want each of you to kind of mentally be prepared to go like, hey, if I have a loan officer that I want to take them from idea, I have this idea, to I'm comfortable enough making a video and I can actually talk about it, like what's the 1, 2, 3? So I'm going to answer it. I want everybody on this call to answer that. I also know, because we had a Facebook post asking, hey, I've got listing agents that want to promote this, and they want to put that language in the, the MLS description. So I want to make sure we crush that. Like, here's how to describe that. But I want to make sure, just in case Rick has to leave, that Rick, I started this off asking Jenny, hey, you created this video in Facebook. What kind of results are you getting? And I know you did a Facebook Live that, by the way, everybody, it is in our mastermind group. So in the Facebook mastermind group, towards the top, you can see Rick's Facebook Live. Rick, could you tell us what you did, why you did it, and what kind of results you're getting? And then Linda Buchanan, we're going to bring you into the conversation. so you can kind of share what you're doing and ask some questions.
Yeah. So, obviously, the Facebook Live gets you a little bit more than if I was to tape record it. So, you're a little vulnerable there, and, a little less polished, like if you could start it over again. So Facebook Live, I have all of my Facebook is segmented into different categories. So when I was speaking, I wasn't speaking to a bunch of loan officers or past clients. I was really just speaking to the my audience, which is my real estate agents. Because it's a certain amount of people, Facebook says that it shows up in their feed more because I've segmented to a small amount of people. So anyway, I put this out there and immediately started getting direct messages. Walk me through it. Can you, I had two people ask me to meet with them. One of my good friends, he's a listing agent, he's got 12 listings right now, and he probably has to have conversations with 4 of them. And he said, let me go do this strategy first. And so we did some seller buy downs customized to that. So this created a tremendous amount of, wow, Rick's at it again. Like if you can, I don't know if you can see some of the comments that I had, it was like out of the box thinking again. And, man, he's always thinking. And so that's what I got out of it. And then I'll share one other quick thing is I did a 5-minute presentation. I hosted a training for some agents, and I spent 5 minutes talking about this concept. And a couple of them came up afterwards. A couple of them called me afterwards and said, you know what, Rick, I like you, but I've got a guy. And I talked to this guy, my guy, about this, and he has no idea what you're talking about. So can you explain this? I don't really want you to have to go explain it to him, but, what's going on here? Like, is this a program that you just have? And I'm like, I love my competition, right? I love my competition. So, in a nutshell, I've just really sparked some conversation that even if they don't do it or use it, it's just Rick is out of the box again, thought process. So, that's why I went live. That's what sparked it. I only had 612 views, and that's because I had it to a small segment amount of people, but the people I wanted to be in front of.
But by the way, 612 views, knowing that you were sending it to realtors, that's not a small amount of people. That's fantastic leverage.
Dave,
And just one sec, Liz, because I want to make sure everyone knows in comments down below, there is a link to the TCA. So whether you're doing what Jenny does and you post a video, always put a link to the total cost analysis that references it. One thing I recommend, just because I've seen a lot of these videos now, is you're doing the video and the link's not there yet in some cases. Not saying you did that, Rick, but I've seen loan officers do that. So I do recommend that you're talking in a video format. You want to make sure that the folks have that link, they have it opened up, they're exposed to the numbers. So part of your goals should be you're trying to introduce an idea, you're trying to get meetings, and you're trying to make sure they kind of know what you're talking about. So just, for anybody that hasn't done a Facebook Live yet or hasn't done a video, realize that those are 3 educational milestones that you want to achieve every time you do one of these. Bliss, you had a question or comment?
I have 2 questions. So one is, I have a segment in my Facebook for realtors. Is that just who you did the Facebook Live in front of, and how many was in that group?
Yeah, so I wasn't about to tell my competition what I was up to. And that's why it's so important to, to have your thing segmented, because you can have a really tight, I've got it open, a really tight.
By the way, if you want to share your screen, if there's something any of you guys want to show, let's do that.
I think 612 views is amazing. That's why I want to know how many people are in there. That's like really good. And did it show that some of them had even shared the idea?
Oh yeah.
Then they shared it with their sellers.
Well, they took the link out and they shared that quite a bit with their sellers. So Josh, the guy who has those ones that he's got to reduce, he shared it with one of his sellers, who's a good buddy of his, and goes, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I think, and that's I posted what he put in MLS, Dave, that we had there. I posted his scripting. This house qualifies for up to 0.75 points off. And one thing that, I said to him is you can't just do that because it doesn't resend out that value back out to everybody who's either looked at it or it's in their search. He changed the price by $100. So he got the price change. Oh yeah, it's $100. But guess what we just did is this qualifies for less.
Got it. So let's do this, guys. Linda Buchanan, any questions for Rick or any comments?
Melissa, just I have 764 people that I have segmented in real estate agents.
That's crazy good on your views then. Awesome.
Yeah.
Really great. Really great. Do you actually pay for promotion on that, or is that just your
That's my
core
personal.
group?
That's
my
my
organic. That's
yeah.
great.
And again, what I hear is because we're not going out to the 2,000 friends and only a couple people are seeing it. We've brought it such a tighter group that it's going to show up more on their feed than if I just put it out to everybody.
So guys, this meeting, this call is all about, hey, seller buy down, but how to get meetings with realtors. So I want to make sure everybody's connecting the dots. We've shared, Facebook Live. Make sure you segment your realtors. Make sure you talk about the strategy. Put a link to the total cost analysis. Then Jenny, she actually did some story selling. And Jenny, by the way, it sounds like you posted that video and made it available to everybody in your Facebook. Is that right?
I do. Yeah, that's just one of the things I do every week to my entire Facebook friend group is just post a story about a problem we had and then a problem we solved.
Which, by the way, guys, no one does this better than Jenny. I call it story selling, where she's telling stories about how she uniquely solved families' problems, and she's incredible at it. I've interviewed her several times. I think if you go to our group and you type in her name, you can get more from her on that. So Linda, any other questions for Rick? And then I want to find out about the video that you did and have you share that with everybody.
No, I think that's really great, Rick. And I haven't done a Facebook Live yet, so that's my next one. I'm just getting really rock solid on my videos and my bomb. But I think that's awesome. So I listened to you the other day and I thought it was fabulous. So I've got to definitely build. Do you have a question? Do you all have a personal and a business Facebook? And where do you promote?
Well, I'll just say I've had a really hard time promoting because it doesn't allow me to promote whatever I want to like. It's really simple, really generic, and it declines me because of the whole thing that they're doing right now. So I'm I'm engaging on my personal more than any time before. So that's. Yeah.
So you find that the business one is more restrictive then, because I'm getting declined on promotions as well.
Yep. And I just haven't had the time or energy to figure out why or what I can do differently. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Linda, I do almost everything on my personal. I have a business Facebook page, but it's run by our marketing department for the company I work for. So they post content on that, but I don't do a lot on that. I feel like my reach is better on my personal. And so I do everything on my personal page. Now we still post on our business, but not the content I'm posting on my personal.
Okay, got it. Good. That's awesome.
I have a thought and a question on that because I have the business and the personal, but we have just recently been told by our compliance attorneys that even on our personal page, we need to have our NMLS, equal housing, and our logo. And so I've just created one picture of that and starting to post that just as like a second picture, or maybe I'll even start doing it in the first comment. Are you guys getting that same feedback for compliance reasons on your personal pages?
I haven't heard that yet.
I heard they can go back a year and fine you up to $5,000 per offense. If you're talking anything mortgage related and you don't have your NMLS and your equal housing logo. So going forward, I'm just going to start, if I'm doing a picture, I'll just have it be a second picture, or if it's a video, I'll probably just add it at the first comment, which I guess it just brands me as well. It's just one more step I wish I didn't have to take. But I'm wondering if anyone else is getting that kind of feedback from compliance.
I've been posting most of my business on my business page, so that's the one I've been trying to build. But I do have it all compliant.
And I could just highly recommend for everybody in the community, make sure you talk to your compliance department and use Facebook the way they want you to use Facebook. So Linda, what are you doing to get realtor meetings? And tell us also about the video that you recently did.
So, and I did post it the other day. I've actually done 2. And, you know, one of the things that I think is so important is that we'll post a video on a topic and then that's one and done. And I think with this strategy, because I think it's a really awesome strategy, it needs to be repetitive. So I did one and it was on a BombBomb, and then 4 or 5 days later, I did it through an email. And what's so great about BombBomb, for those of you who aren't using it, is that you can see who's opening it, you can see who's playing it, you can see who's clicking on links, and that's really powerful. So what I've done is I've gone back to those individuals, those agents that have opened it and played it. I have gone and actually started calling them and saying, hey, did you get it? Oh no, I must have missed it. Or, oh yeah, I saw it, but I don't understand it. And I've been able to get a appointment with a top team. In a couple of weeks, I'm meeting with their whole team at one of their monthly meetings. I'm meeting with another top buyer's agent out of that video, because they couldn't really understand the concept of it. And she says, I'm out here, I'm working with buyers, and I really don't understand all of these tools. I'm a visual learner. I said, well, you've got to come into my office. So she's coming in tomorrow. It was really interesting. Yesterday, I do my Monday calls and I try to call my top agents. And the first 2 calls that I made, I really tried just asking the question, how are you doing? And one of the agents was, oh my gosh, it is so rough out here. We're in the trenches. They both basically had the same exact comment about the market. And I said, well, let me just show you and share with you something that may really make a huge difference. And that is the seller buy down. So I'm trying to get those appointments. I think that's so huge in this, in this market. Just not only just selling, me, hey, I've got rates, because I don't sell on rates. And I tell them right up front, it is selling on the experience and what I can do and the value I can bring. And I think that's really making a difference.
Well, I love that. I hope everybody noted she is using the video to get the meeting. So think of that also, everyone, whether you're doing a Facebook video, whether you're doing live, whether you're doing email video with a platform like BombBomb, the idea is to get the meeting, get on the phone with them, and remember, use the total cost analysis to explain the video. It's not about the technology, it's about the story and the strategy. In last Tuesday's call, we talked to everybody about how important it is that you start building this library of stories and strategies. Hey, I had this realtor was getting ready to lower the price by $50,000, and I showed them how a $15,000 rate buy down could avoid that $50,000 purchase reduction. So build this library of story and strategies. Linda, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, yesterday I went into Mortgage Coach and I was looking up how to do a seller buy down, because I understand it, I get it, but I just want other ideas. And in the YouTube that you had, basically they had a great idea. They were walking us through, she was walking us through how to do it. And she said, go into Redfin, take a look at an agent, take a look at how long they've had a listing on the market, like make an analysis for that agent and say, here, look, your house has been on the market 100 days. I actually went in this morning to Redfin and I started targeting properties that I saw that have been stale on the market. And I have a list of agents I'm going to go after, just based on, thank you, on your YouTube, how to do a seller buy down.
Love this. So I want to bring Dawn into the conversation, because at Mortgage Coach, we're trying to be very thoughtful about what changes do we need to make to the product so that you could go from, you're trying to explain the strategy to a family or an agent and they get it. And then from a marketing standpoint, we want to make sure we get the word out and we help you guys master this strategy quickly and effectively. So Dawn, I'll hand it off to you for any questions you have for anybody on the call so far.
Okay, super. So a couple of things that I've noticed. If you go into Mortgage Coach today and you create the seller buy down strategy, if you will, there's a partner version and then there is just the individual LO version. So I'd like to get a sense of how often you're using that versus creating a TCA that shows the extended data that's in a TCA, which is about the time that the borrower will be in the property over the life of the loan. Because there's two ways that strategy can be presented. So I'm curious as to which you're defaulting to.
Like for me personally, it depends on my audience. So the one I pushed out to Facebook for everybody to see, I just did a standard TCA and did, this is what it is now. This is what it would be if you reduce the price. This is what it would be if we did a buy down, because that's what the consumer is going to want to know. When I'm sending these to my individual agents for their specific listings, I'm doing the seller buy down strategy. Because I think I was shocked. Yesterday was the first time I actually did the seller buy down with a partner on it. Right. And I was blown away by that little column at the end, at the bottom, where it tells you how much you would have to reduce the price to make the same difference in payment.
Right.
I mean, that was shocking to me. And you don't see that when you do it just in a TCA format. So for me, it just depends on who my audience is as to which one I do.
Okay. So best practice for you, Jenny, is for the borrower, you show the full-blown TCA. For the partner, okay.
Unless it's a seller. If it's a seller that I'm doing it specifically for, I'll do the seller buy down one.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
And I just use just the TCA. I have the basic program, and it looks good. I created my own. It looks really good, but I am going to jump in and look at the partner one as well, because I understand it has, like Jenny said, it has that extra column there, and I think it's pretty powerful.
Would that
Let's go down. Oh, go ahead, Don. I want to make sure everybody weighs in on this stuff. Yeah. And Dan Keller just joined us also.
Just a question on the normal TCA. Would it be beneficial to have that last column be a part of the original, a general TCA versus just being a part of the partner and the seller buy down strategy itself?
I think it would, because if you're presenting it, to a buyer, I think it gives them that extra, like, wow, this does make sense. I mean, it's a win-win. How I sell this is as a win-win for everybody.
Okay. All right. That's valuable. Rick, what about you?
Yeah, TCA. I just thought that there was more. I had looked at the seller buy down. There was some things missing for me when I looked at it quickly. And so I just picked the TCA and went with that. So I should go back and revisit it, but TCA for me.
Okay, cool. And if you find things that are missing that you'd like to have, please just ping me so we can talk through it.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Hey, Dan Keller, you just joined us. I don't know how much of the conversation you heard. Don was asking everybody, hey, are you using the consumer just for the family total cost analysis, or are you using the Realtor co-branded one? Which one are you using more often, buddy?
Yeah, just the standard TCA right now, but I love what Jenny said. I'm going to start rolling that out with the partner. I think that's incredible.
Okay.
Hey, and so you just joined us, Dan. Obviously you're a leader in the mortgage coach community. I've interviewed you a lot. I know you've been following the seller buy down strategy to some extent. What are you doing right now with it to get the word out with your agent? And if you can just share what you're up to.
Yeah, so I think real estate agents in general are not going to get it. I think if you just have a conversation with them over the phone, or if you see them in passing. So one of the things that I'm doing, like I do with anything, is I just create some excitement around it. So what I did yesterday was I printed off, so we've helped 179 families this year. So I have 179 listing agents that we printed off. And I'm calling every single one of them, and I'm letting them know that I'm emailing them a video, a report that literally will help them sell more homes in 2019. And I'm pretty much leaving it at that. If I'm leaving a voicemail, I'm just saying, I need you to see this email that I'm sending you. There's gonna be a lot of value in there. It's solving two problems. One, the borrower's problems that they are worried the interest rates went up. And then number two, the seller's problems from having to reduce their purchase price. So that's the first thing I'm doing. I'm making a call. Second, I'm emailing. Third, you just got to, like, you teach us all the time, like, you got to story sell, you got to story tell all the time. So I'm just going to create a lot of excitement around this, and up here in Seattle, be the guy that's doing this, be the guy that's, from Facebook Live to every single week, maybe sending out another success story, story being the key. So just creating excitement around this. Like, I don't think agents in general, I don't think lenders in general really get the power of this. And I think I was doing it as a rookie loan officer back in 2010 and 2011, and it's back. And it's really cool because now we can actually strategize.
Yeah. And, Dan said a couple things, guys, that I hope everybody heard. One, it's not an event. It's not like there's one video, one email.
Yeah.
The email that Jeremy sent out to 500 agents is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the playbook. So, there's a video with a TCA and a video in the TCA. And by the way, one of the questions earlier was, how can I get good at this so I can tell the story? And it's really simple. Do 5 to 10 of them. Actually create 5 to 10 TCAs so that, and to Linda's point, use Redfin, use the MLS, but create 5 to 10 of these, because there's no substitute to learning than just doing. And so, before you do anything, guys, if you're listening to this and you don't know what to do, first of all, we've got a playlist called Seller Buydown Playbook Videos. There's 5 videos, couple hours of homework. You can listen to those conversations and then create 5 to 10 TCAs. And by the way, put a video on it. Never more important than putting a video on it. And then just remember, if you're sending it to agents, the goal is to get FaceTime with them. The goal is not just, oh, they watched my video. No, that's great. I mean, that's like, okay, you're on first base. But the home run is they watched their video, they had a meeting with you, and now you're partnering with them to sell their homes with this strategy. That's the goal. And so I just want to make sure everybody connected the dots on that. Dan, would you mind when you get one of your videos that you want to share with the community, posting it in the Facebook group in the next couple days or a week, whenever you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I'll throw it down there today. I'll put it down in the comments today.
Great. And then I have been interviewing agents. By the way, this I think is going to be a great idea, is start off by asking agents, and you might even want to email agents this question. Hey, I'm writing an article or a blog, and I'd love to, and it would be really helpful for me to know what percentage of your listings are you having to do a price reduction on? Mm-hmm. And then in the survey I did, what do you think that number is going to go up or down over the next 30 to 60 days? So by the way, by asking that question, if it's an agent that's like, oh, I don't have any price listings, well, there's no pain there. So that's not a big opportunity to go after that agent. But if they're like, I got a response, by the way, Dan, you'll love this, from Tina Bellevue going, oh my God, 80% of my listings need price reductions. It's a big problem here in Baltimore. So now when you come in with the Seller Buydown, you're coming in with some known pain. You know that they have this as pain. And now you're coming in and you're saying, hey, you told me that 30% of your listings need a buy down, and you think that number is going to go up. Let me show you how we can save your sellers, 3 to 1. So instead of a $50,000 price reduction, we could do a $15,000 buy down. So that's another thing I want to tell everybody on the call. And I put it in the playbook. It's one of the talking points where it says tailor and teach. Before you go into teach and evangelize mode, try to tailor, around what the pain is with that agent. Dan, I see you nodding. Is there something you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I think it's the strategy, the reason. So my coach last week, and this had nothing to do with the Seller Buydown, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to build better relationships. And because of the amount of volume that we do and the experience that we provide agents, he wanted me to go back and call every single listing agent and try to get an appointment with them before the end of the year, just to talk about their business and maybe where I missed it during the transaction, asking them for a connection. And so it was just perfect timing where, when I call a real estate agent, I want to have something of value to talk with them about. And so this is just big. It's perfect timing for all of this. And then the idea around the seller buy down for me with listing agents is I'm not just a mortgage broker. I'm not just a mortgage professional. Now I'm like a trusted financial partner that I want you to talk to as we list your house, because Dan has a strategy or two that may help us move your property sooner than what the market's dictating right now. So I think it's just, this is perfect timing, Dave. And that's why, when you reached out to me the other day, I wanted to be on this call to learn from all these crazy, great people that are already on this call. But having strategy sessions or masterminds around this right now, I think it's going to give you an edge going into 2019. And I'm pumped. I'm pumped to have some ammo.
So Dan, I want to hear your script. I just want to get a feel. And Don, you're next. I saw you raise your hand there. And by the way, I'm going to put everybody on the spot before this call's over. So we got 19 minutes. Everybody be ready for what's the sentence that you're going to tell agents to put in the MLS to promote this. So everybody's going to weigh in. And just give us a minute on, you call me, I'm a real estate agent. You're going to try to get a meeting, leveraging the seller buy down. What's that sound like?
Yeah, so I called a couple of listing agents yesterday. Actually, I called 11 yesterday. And, these are listing agents that have already closed a transaction. And what I did is I started most recent, and I'm working back to the beginning of the year. And it was much like what you just said. I just asked them, how's everything going? It was my fault not reaching out to you a couple of weeks ago when we closed the transaction. One of the things that I always do is I like to do a post-closing, kind of like a follow-up call, just to see how my team did. Obviously, on closing day, we send out the emails and I make the phone call. Hey, congratulations, we funded. A lot of the times it goes to voicemail. And so I structured the call yesterday just around, hey, I want to follow up with a couple of things. You recall working with us on your listing on 123 Main Street. Oh yeah, Dan, how you doing? Great. Hey, the purpose of the call is just to check in with you. We've closed the transaction on your listing, and kind of as a, in my business, I want to make sure that I keep our processes in check. How did we do for you and your sellers? Oh my God, my sellers love the handwritten note card that you send them. You guys did incredible. We loved the updates. Awesome. Hey, how is your listing inventory right now? And what I always try to do is I talk to about 50 agents a month, and I'm really trying to get a pulse on the market. How's the market? How are your listings right now? And a couple of them did say, Dave, like what you said, it's slow. I had one of the top agents in a town just north of Edmonds yesterday say it's soft. And he's a top dog. The guy has like 13 listings right now, and they're all in the close to $1 million to $1.5 million range. And I said, is that the market? Is that your market, or is that the market in general? And he was like, it's just soft right now. He said, listings aren't moving. He said, sellers are unrealistic. And so that's when I said, hey, listen, Adam, I get that sellers are unrealistic. I've got something I want to talk with you about. It has to do with the seller buy down. Have you heard it? You recall that? Because he's been in the business. You recall learning about this early in 2010, 2011? And he said, no. I said, let's grab coffee next week. I want to share something with you. In the meantime, I'm going to email you a report that's going to show you some crazy valuable information where it may be able to help prevent your seller from having to drop the list price by a lot. Like he told me he just dropped one $125,000. And so I told him, I said, this might save your seller some money, but it might incentivize a borrower too to write an offer and maybe leverage my services as well, where we can get him that interest rate that existed a year ago. And so we've got coffee next week. That was kind of a success story for a meeting that I actually booked an appointment with.
So by the way, guys, that was pure gold. And notice how Dan said he structured the conversation. So it wasn't just a script. He came into this call with purpose, with structure, and he came out with, creating curiosity that I've got a way to save your seller money. So before everybody else goes around, because I see a few people having their hands raised, Dawn, did you have a question or something you wanted to insert at this point?
Yes, absolutely. So there is a question that Bill Daniels put into the chat window, and it's regarding for wholesale lenders who are offering the buy down in their product line. And this is something that I'd like to get some feedback from you all. As we talk about the seller buy down strategy, we also know that there are products that are buy down products. And so my question to you is, how do you position that? I mean, are your lenders coming out with buy down options from the product line? And then how do you position or script or to know which way is best for your clients? How do you consult with your realtors and then your borrowers in that? A product versus a strategy.
Dan, you want to go first on that?
Yeah, that's Don.
Dan's shaking his head.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that, because that same agent that I was talking with, that I just gave you an example, he goes, is that one of those strategies where the interest rate's lower for a year or two and then it jumps up? And I said, no, there is a strategy. That's a 2-1. But I said, no, this is where we're literally buying down the interest rate. So he intrigued me yesterday to look into that. I'm going to be perfectly honest with everyone on this call. I am not well equipped to give advice on a 2-1 buy down because I haven't done one in a very, very long time. So it's provoked me to look into that. But I think, I don't know, I'm curious. People on the panel, can you do a buy down with a 2-1 buy down?
Well,
I haven't seen it come.
We have the product here. Our company offers the product.
Yeah, real quick. So I was at NBA last week or whatever it was, and you're going to see almost all lenders come out with 2-1 buy downs. And this is going to be the talk of the industry 30, 60, 90 days from now. But remember, we're talking about a permanent buy down. You know, we're talking about buying the rate down, and it's unique, you know, and I do think you're going to have to say buy down. And I'm not talking about a 2-1 buy down. I'm talking about a permanent buy down. And just from the interviews I've done, it varies from lender to lender. And I think it varies from day to day, program to program, that most of these permanent buy downs are 30-year, 10-year, and 7-year. And I have seen some examples of TCAs where on a 7-year buy down for less than 3 points, you were literally lowering the rate by over 1%, which is huge. You know, that's the way to get the most leverage. But guys, we've only got about 13 minutes left, and I want to make sure I get a headline for everybody. So Dan, you go first. If you were going to give agent advice on how they would promote a seller buy down in their listing language, what would that sentence be?
If they were to promote it in their listing language, I want you to reach out to our preferred mortgage professional for some information on a seller buy down strategy that could get you interest rate that doesn't exist, interest rate from 2018, 2017 that doesn't exist today. I mean, I'd have to run that through compliance. I haven't done that yet. But something along those lines where I would use the terminology permanent seller buy down of your interest rate, where the seller would participate in something like that.
And I first of all, I like that permanent seller buy down. And I do think, and I'll look forward to hearing, that you could put a link to a total cost analysis. Mm-hmm. So this property is eligible for a permanent seller buy down. Click here to see the special, the savings.
Yeah, sellers willing to participate in a permanent seller buy down. Contact Dan Keller for more information on this, how you can save hundreds of dollars on your payment.
Cool. Rick Scheer, you're next, and then Jenny, you're next.
Yeah, so we created one that was more generic, and I don't know how MLS is across the country. I know that we're pretty tight here in New England, or at least in Massachusetts, what you can promote or not promote within the description. So I kept it high level. What I recommended saying is, again, adjust the price down a little bit so you get the reaction of a pricing update. But in there saying this property qualifies for up to 0.75% in a rate, permanent rate buy down. And so that, again, you don't want to quote rate, you don't want to put rate in there. Everybody's situation is different. So you try to keep it as generic as possible. So that's what the first one we went out with Josh's listing. Yeah, so that's what I would. Okay,
Jenny, you're next. What would you put in that listing description if you could?
Yeah, the way we framed it with our agents is thinking outside the box to add value to your sellers. And I think that anybody that goes to a seller with a different idea than lowering the price wins, because they know that that's what's going to happen when you don't sell it. The listing agent is going to want to lower the price. And so I think the framing of that is, I have a lending partner, Jenny Stoner, who just has an amazing idea about how we can get your house sold without you having to drastically drop the price. Is it okay if I have her call you? I always do the reverse. I teach my agents to get permission for me to call the person, because I know I'm going to call them. I don't know that they're going to call me. So I try to switch it up that way.
Love it. Love it. And by the way, Bliss, before you go, Brad just posted permanent rate buy down offered by seller. I think that's, interesting. Yeah. Bliss.
I also think that we can't discount how we communicate that. Like, especially those of us who have been in the business a really long time, email and phone is our default. But I think we have to think about how we like to respond to information. I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we're not sending these out via messenger or text.
Oh, by the way, really, really good point, by the way, everybody. And that's the thing. I mean, you need to get the actual seller buy down with your video on it in Mortgage Coach. And then you, to your point, email it, text it, Facebook it, describe it with a teaser with BombBomb, with Facebook Live. But remember, guys, it's important to remember when you do the BombBomb, when you do the Facebook Live, it's not like they're not going to boom, I get this. They're not going to get the aha. They don't get the aha until they're like, okay, I have a property and a problem, and they see the total cost analysis. They're like, whoa. I mean, at the end of the day, until you get that realtor or that family go, oh, aha, I never saw that. You've not had that educational experience yet. So it's everything else you're doing is to just get them into a tailored, relevant, total cost analysis experience. Bliss, what would you put in a listing description?
So I actually hadn't thought about them before. So I love that you threw that at me, because this is what I wrote down. Lower payment available on this house. Seller will help reduce buyer's rate.
Ooh, I like
good.
that.
Because it's not, anyways, I'm actually thinking when I teach that class next week, I'm going to brainstorm with the agents there. What could we do in the MLS? Because I actually, Rick said his is pretty strict. I have no idea what they can and can't do. So I want to get feedback from them. And then maybe as a group, we even come up with better ideas or more compelling reasons. Can we put a link in there? That would be awesome, right? A link to a mortgage coach of me talking about how the seller's willing to buy down the interest rate. Wow, that's just phenomenal. So I'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, guys, just so we're giving credit. Tony started this conversation right here. I'm showing the group. And so Tony has a question. And right now he's got 7 comments. So my ask is, first of all, everybody who's a leader on this call, we've had this conversation, post your best framing, and then let's learn together. 2 weeks from now, a week from now, we're going to have some killer headlines. And obviously it would be great if we could put a link to a TCA in there, which maybe we can, maybe we can't, maybe some MLSs we can and some we can't. So guys, let's play it forward in Tony's Facebook post and put it there. Linda Buchanan, what's your best headline right now?
Well, I wrote this down because it's how I'm selling it to the agents. And I said, will you qualify it at a lower rate and think this home is out of your affordability range? Our lender can make your dream come true in buying this home now. Give them a call.
Okay, cool. All right. So we've got 5 minutes. By the way, I like that. I like it all. But let's learn fast together. Let's fill out this post. A week from now, we'll all be better at it. Let's close out the call, and I want to go around the room with, if we were going to give 2 hours of homework to a loan officer, whether they were new or experienced, and we wanted them to learn the strategy, and by the way, leveraging our community, our videos, our Facebook group, what's the 1, 2, 3 best way for a loan officer to get up to speed on this? Who wants to go first? Dan, rocket.
Oh, here's what I did. I listened to Rick's Facebook Live. I listened to Jeremy's TCA. I listened to Jenny's cool little, video that she did on it the other day. And that's how I learned about it. I kind of added my spin to it. I saw a post that, I forget the guy's name. I don't think he's in this group, but he should be. He's with New American Funding down in California. And he didn't do a video on it, but they had some marketing collateral. It was pretty cool. So I took that. I listened to those. I made my own. And then, the whole idea, if you're going to get the message out to real estate agents, you can't just do it once. So like I said, I'm going to call every single one of them. I'm going to email them, and then I'm going to send. I've got my assistant working on that flyer. I'm going to mail every single one of them. And then I'm going to follow up after that mail piece goes out with another phone call going, this is legit. Did you have a chance to look at this? So you just got to be crazy around it. But those are, I mean, if you're listening to this, watch those 4 videos. I think Rick's was like 2 minutes. Same thing with Jenny's. It was incredible. Same thing with Forcier's. So that's what I would do.
So guys, by the way, all of those are in this Facebook Buy Down Playbook in LinkedIn. It's a 9-minute read. At least that's what my document said. It's long. It's not a 2-minute read. And then, by the way, Rick's Facebook video is 5 minutes. Jenny's video is like 2 less than 3 minutes. And so I'm with you so far, Rick. Jenny, what about you? What's your advice to the community if they're going to learn to go from, oh, this sounds interesting, to I'm ready to rock? What's your advice? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so mine would be watch the Seller Buydown video on the Mortgage Coach YouTube page, because sometimes we just don't do things because we don't know how, and the explanation's right there. That's how I learned yesterday. I think you have to do one and then internalize it, right? Do one and be like, oh, I get it, because if you don't get it, they won't get it. And then I think you have to customize one for your agents with their listing, because that personalizes it to them. Think of an out-of-the-box way to deliver that to them. So messenger, text, something other than just email, and then ask them to share it with someone else in their office that they think might benefit from it.
Love that. Linda Buchanan, what's your 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, the same is watch the video. Like I told you, I think last week when I was commenting on a call, I watched Jeremy's video probably 10 times. I didn't go crazy and watch everybody's because I needed to get my own script down. So I watched it over and over and over, and then I recorded it. That particular one, I recorded it way too many times, but I kept watching myself because I wanted to watch my mannerisms, how I said it, my hand motions and everything. But do that, and your fear will go away when you are doing it over and over and over, and you just send it.
So Linda, make sure, when you said I watched Jeremy's, are you referring to his actual Seller Buydown?
The Seller Buydown. Yeah.
50. So by the way, guys, hear that. This video is in countless places. If you go to the Seller Buydown playbook that we did last week and you say show more, there's a link to everybody's Seller Buydown. So I mean, guys, we're spoon feeding here for you. And I do agree, Jenny, watching this one video, the Mastermind from last Tuesday, watching these, going to the playbook, it's all right here. Bliss, what's your 1, 2, 3?
I think it's pretty much the same as everyone else, but I don't know, did anyone mention specifically watching Tina's from Mortgage Coach, her instructions on how to do a Seller Buydown? Because I had no idea how to do it. And, I watched that, I would rewind it a little bit, and I would take my own steps as she was walking through it. And that's how I got familiar with the Seller Buydown option in Mortgage Coach rather than doing a TCA. I like how Jenny uses them for different things. But back to the first thing I said, just take action, do something and move it forward. I actually have written down a whole bunch of notes of things that I'm going to now go and do. Great ideas with the listing agents and with looking up listings and just brilliant ideas. So really just pick any 3 things and just do them.
So guys, I just went to the Seller Buydown playlist, and there is a video called How to Create a Seller Buydown for Realtors. And we'll continue to add to this playlist, but I think that's the one you're talking about.
Is that the one where Tina did it?
I think so.
I thought it was shorter than 12 minutes, but.
Okay. Well, there might be another one. By the way, there might be another one, and I'll go look. So if there is another one, it will be added to this playlist by the end of the day, and I'll confirm that with Tina on our team. So by the way, have I not asked that question from anybody yet? Did everybody answer?
Me, but I'll just everybody. Come on, man. No. No, I'll just reiterate what everybody's saying, and if I could say anything, it's know it down pat. Like the more you understand every piece of it, what it means, $1 to $3, you know, all of those concepts, the more confident you can be in your voice, in your presentation, like Dan's doing, killing it, calling all those agents to show them what's going on, man. Because I'll tell you, we've got probably a running room of 30 to 60 days before the industry gets out there with it. And again, I did a presentation with 48 people. 3 people called me and goes, hey, like, can you explain this to me? Because my loan officer doesn't know what you're talking about. Like, that's awesome. Like, so let's get out there, understand it, get really fluent in it. My team has watched the video twice so that they can, as a team, explain it. Just know your stuff and get out there and do what Dan's doing. Call, pick up the phone, get some meetings.
So you made a really good point that I want to close on, and it's in the principles of the playbook. And you guys need to understand these principles. One, the fact that rising interest rates is just a plain old opportunity to get market share in production, because most loan officers are either panicked, it's bad news. So just, you've got to believe at your core of your core that, oh, rates are rising, there's less leads in the market, there's a challenge. It's a great opportunity. You've got to believe that. You've also got to believe that your advice, like the fact that you use Mortgage Coach, the fact that you're an advisor, if it was valuable last month, it's 10x more valuable this month. And you've got to believe that. And then number 3, the fact that a seller buy down is a unique value proposition. By the way, closing a loan in 20 days is not a unique value proposition. Every loan officer in America says, I close loans fast. I keep my promises. I have great rates. Not a unique value proposition. The fact that you are a master at seller concessions, helping sellers sell homes without price reductions, helping buyers get homes with low old interest rates, that's a unique value proposition. By the way, in spring home buying season, it may not be so unique. There may be so many loan officers that are on this, but right now, I mean, it's like, you're not even a 1%er. You're less than a 1%er if you can get around this concept. And then number 4, you guys, you've got to master your CRM. You've got to master Mortgage Coach. This is the time that if you master Mortgage Coach, how to present mortgage strategies in a way that's valuable, it could truly, you know, not just save your career as the disruption takes place in the mortgage industry, but really rocket launch your business right now. So guys, I could keep going, but we're 3 minutes over. I hope you guys got value. If you liked anything in this recording, give us a like. If you're on this call live or you're listening to the recording, please share this with your team. I do think it's a time to huddle up with your team, get smarter. If you're a branch manager, this is a great time for you to lead and train and help your team deliver advice and help them get after it with this seller buydown strategy. So guys, thanks for taking time to be on this call, and really appreciate everybody leading, and have a great day, everybody.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.